What is going on? I am Johnny Von Duke and you are watching Disney Channel. What the fuck? Well, boys and girls, all y'all genitalias around the world, December is here. Well, it's probably been here for a few days by the time this video gets up, but I just want to say a grand royal fuck all to that shit, you know? I just want to tell all that shit to get compiled into a box and to fuck off, you know? You feel? We gotta tell it to fuck off just this one fucking time. So, you know, we're gonna do something different to get the holiday cheer to go ho 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 away. And we are gonna be talking about Friday the motherfucking 13th. What will we be talking about Friday the 13th? Well, all the movies. More specifically, we'll be ranking all the movies. Yeah. Another ranking where I will be, needing to... I need to stop doing these fucking rankings, you know? I just need to stop, but... Anyway, before we drown away my woe and misery of realizing that I will be ranking, 12 movies? Yeah, let's do this. I think it's 12. Hopefully. Yeah, it is 12 movies. And here's number 12, which is the worst one, by the way. This is a personal ranking. It's completely based off my opinion. And if you feel differently, that is completely fine. But I don't give a shit right now about your rankings. Well, I do. Rank them in the comments below if you manage to find this video somehow. But I just want to say one thing. Yeah, you guys probably guessed one of these two movies would be in the bottom, but yeah. Jason Goes to Hell takes number 12. I don't think I need to say why, although I will. First off, they turned Jason into a motherfucking slug. You only see the actual Jason for like maybe 15 minutes of the whole movie, which sucks. And he hardly kills anybody. The people he inhabits kills them. Yes, I said inhabits, and it's very rarely with a machete. Not that Jason did many kills with machete. He did do kills with machete, obviously, but just not a fuck ton like people think. Like, they just think he goes whack, whack, whack with the machete like people go for a baseball bat for that home run, but no. It was a lot of different tools and unique shit, but none of that was featured. The only redeeming quality of this movie is the fact that Sean S. Cunningham came back to direct it, but then again, he's also the guy who fucked it up, so... Damn, even my body doesn't give a shit about this. Nor does my digestive system. Yeah, this movie is garbage. Let's move on to number 11. Yes, number 11. Jesus Christ, body. I'm going to do this in one take, because number 11, you guessed it, is Jason in Outer Space. Or Jason X. It's Jason in Outer Space. Do I need to say why this is at number 11? Really? You're probably wondering, wait, why isn't it number 12? Here's the thing. Unlike, Slugman movie, Slugman Jr., Jason's actually there. And he actually does kill people. And it's not people he's inhabiting. That is literally the only reason. Both these movies are garbage. You could take 12 or 11 as basically the same spot. If I could burn them alive, I would. Admittedly, when I'm drunk, Jason X is a little funny. But only when I'm drunk. So, yeah. We could throw these two movies in the fucking dumpster. And we gotta move on to number motherfucking 10. 10 is probably one people aren't expecting to be here. You guys probably expected me to put a New Beginning or something in here, but no. It was Friday the 13th, Part 3. Yes, the movie where Jason gets his hockey mask is at number 10 on this list. Now, what puts this below all the other movies that I will be talking about? Well, it's not even the fact that it's not our Jason yet, because we're going to be... You've already figured out Part 2 is out of Part 3 here, so let me explain. It's just... it's a jarring movie. It's when we finally get like the bald-headed Jason, you know? And up until that point, like in part 2, you know, he had the long hair and all that shit. He had the hillbilly outfit on. It's like, it's jarring to go from 2 to 3 and be like, oh, this is the same villain. This is the same fucking bad guy. It's just too jarring for me, first off there. And keep in mind, this is a personal ranking. And you also gotta remember, this is meant to take on the day after part 2. The day after part 2 is where part 3 goes in. And Jason looks completely different. What? I mean, I can believe he shaved his head, but where'd he get the new outfit from? Could you have at least explained that? Well, that doesn't even matter because facially he looked completely different, but Friday the 13th movies have never been consistent, but I am a nitpick bitch for consistency. Even though I am not the most consistent person on the face of the earth by any means, nor do I try to be. Yeah. I'm basically turning into a knockoff long-haired creepy guy at this point. Anyway, yeah, part 3 is number 10. Moving on to number Shamalama Ding Dong Nina Ling Long. Woo! Freddy vs. Jason takes place at number 9. And you were probably expecting this to be around number 5, maybe 4. No, it's my number 9. I actually really love this movie, but the thing that just kills it for me everywhere is just simply the fact that this movie will never be considered canon in the Friday 13th shit. I get that Friday the 13th makes up it doesn't make up it well, it does sometimes. It did sometimes. It has. But what I'm saying is, now that we are, you know, done with the whole original movie shit, it's like, it doesn't fit in anywhere. You know, you can watch all those, like, the first 10 or so movies and it makes sense. But then you want to go to Freddy vs. Jason and Freddy just pulls him out of hell. Yeah. I get it's a horror movie. I get we're talking about horror movies. They don't need to be super consistent for us to love them as fans. We obviously love these movies. Except, Jason Goes to Hell. Except that one can burn. But we do love these movies. I like these movies, but through my personal nitpicky nature, number 9 has to be Freddy vs. Jason. No questions asked from me. Yeah, I'm sorry, Freddy vs. Jason fans. I love you guys. I am one of your fans. I'm sorry though. I am a fan. I'm a fan of Freddy vs. Jason, but I'm sorry. Let's move on to number 8 before I fucking bury myself any deeper. Moving into the better movie territory, at least for me, or starting to, we move into the final chapter. Now, the start thing for me is Jason has his hockey mask for the whole movie. That puts it above all the other, well, most of them anyway. Except Jason X. He had his hockey mask on the whole time there, but that's a big boon for me. Even though you don't need the hockey mask to do a good Jason, as number 2 over there is showing. I like number 2's Jason, but we'll talk about that later. But the final chapter was a good movie as it was introducing Tommy Jarvis, which would become one of the very few main characters for the Friday the 13th mythos, so to speak, as Jason himself and Pamela are really the only 2 returning characters, as you guys probably already know if you've clicked on this video, because you're probably a Friday the 13th fan. If not, I'm just talking about a bunch of random details and you have no context. This is a random movie ranking, man. What are you doing here? I'm glad you're here, but what are you doing here? Seriously, what are you doing here? But, moving on from that further, features some of the nicest work, gore-wise, in the movies. And there's just the amazing fact that I believe the actor's name was Tom White, who played Jason for the final chapter. I could be getting it wrong. There were a lot of different actors for a lot of the different movies. Kane Hodder is one of the few people who returned to play him multiple times. But I think it was Tom White. He did a great job as that Jason. I can vibe with Part 4's Jason. Yeah, I can vibe with Part 4. And let's be honest, watching little kid Tommy Jarvis experience some of the more inappropriate sides of life, it was, those were funny moments, man. Like, those had me dying of laughter sometimes, like where he's shutting the blinds and covering his fucking head. It's fucking hilarious. So I do recommend part 4, but unfortunately it is not better than our number 7 spot. Yeah. Ooh. Number 7 is, and this is probably where I'm gonna start losing people, Jason Takes Manhattan. Is the garbage over? Am I safe? Yeah, I'm gonna start talking before I get killed or booed or anything bad starts happening, but number 7 is, yeah, I said it already. I'm spiraling now. It's Jason Takes Manhattan. I'm one of those guys. The thing I want to give this movie credit for is it came up with some creative kills for the boat. They were stuck on that boat for an unrealistic amount of time for the runtime on that movie, and they came up with some creative shit to get Jason to kill people with. And that's a good thing, and that's the main thing with these movies. It has some creative kills, and I love them. Second off, I don't hate it being on the boat, as being in an enclosed space with Jason is honestly horrifying. And I do appreciate the movie heavily for trying to take the series in a new direction and trying new things that wasn't completely stupid and unrealistic. Seeing Jason in a city was fine. Just a shame they couldn't pull it off fully. It really is a shame. This could have been a better movie than it was. And then the ending got botched and to hell in my opinion, especially considering what comes after it. Yeah, Jason Gazelle is after Jason Takes Manhattan, so fuck me. Yeah, that's bad how they did that. But they also did a comic book which explains how he comes back from the sewer and then manages to do shit he does, and Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell is a bad movie. It's a really bad movie. I want to burn that movie. I just want to take this fucking movie. I just want to take this combo pack of like these two movies and go just fucking kill it or some shit. I don't know. Before I think about those movies again, let's just move on to number 6, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. I want to move on to number 6. Number 6 is Friday the 13th Part 2. Good old Bagman Jason Voorhees, where he was the good old hillbilly. Hillbilly man. Oh, yeah, we're getting a clip show over there. This is just a random video of Friday the 13th clips and footage. I don't know who made it. But Jason in Part 2 is very unique, especially considering this was he was introduced in Part 1, but this was his grand breakout on the murder spree, you know? It was his grand breakout on the murder spree, and I feel as though for his grand breakout, it was done pretty damn well. The big thing that stops this movie, though, from being put any higher than it is, though, simply considering I have the movies literally sitting right there and I can see them as it's helping me remember what my listing and ranking is, but the thing that stops it from putting it higher is just what happens throughout the rest of the series after that point, and how it fucking kind of hurts Part 2, because yeah, if you go from 1 into 2 then into 3, it's weird and jarring to see how Jason looks in 3 compared to 2. Yeah, that's fine, but when you consider 2 came first and then see how the rest of the series went, it's kind of unfortunate because they had an established look for Jason, they didn't continue it. I wouldn't mind seeing an alternate spin-off universe one day where Bagman Jason sticks around a little longer. That would be fun and vibing, but we gotta move on to our number 5 spot before we forget. I was a worm before I was a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I am. Number 5, and this is something you guys have been waiting for. It's a new beginning. Yeah, I'll take this garbage pelting openly. I'll give you a minute and a few seconds here. Come on. Do it. You done? Okay, good. Now you're done pelting me with garbage on your TV screen and monitors and just ruining them from a temper tantrum. I give New Beginning having credits for trying to stick the lore of Friday the 13th and stick with it, you know? They didn't want to bring Jason back and they really tried not to. The stereotypes in the movie, though, wasn't the best thing. The only relatable character was nobody. We had one kid. It was just hard to get behind people in this movie, man. The thing that puts it above it is, again, the thing that they tried to respect the lore, tried to do something new, try to respect the fact that Jason was dead and buried by this point in the series. They really did try. And I respect them heavily for that, and that goes a long way for me in these kinds of rankings and shit like that. Like, the actual soul and credibility behind the material is what I live for with this shit sometimes. And I get it, the director was a bit of a sleaze bag. He, in fact, the director did nothing but record pornos before this. If you can fucking believe that, that's hilarious. But, you know, all things considered, he didn't make a bad movie. It's just that, I think a lot of people would agree it shouldn't have been a Friday the 13th movie. It shouldn't have. For me, respecting the lore, doing something different too, and the fact that it wasn't, everything that came before this. Yeah, New Beginning can take number 5 with a garbage pelting. So let's move into number 4 now that my credibility is ruined and is about to get ruined even further and further as we get to number 1 soon. Let's do this. Number 4 is the movie right after A New Beginning, and our number 4 spot is, for all of those who actually have knowledge of the Friday the 13th series and didn't click randomly, a new Jason Lives. I almost said A New Beginning again, and my brain farted, and I couldn't remember what it said for shit, and now that is on video. But Jason Lives is amazing. It's just amazing. The comedy in the movie, the Alice Cooper songs, the fact that Tommy Jarvis is kicking ass in his best iteration ever. It's just litty titty, my big old bitty witty. It's the littiest, tittiest, bittiest, quittiest time. It's a rock star time. And the little grudge with Tommy and the cop, I can respect it. I like that little bit of the movie, even though he's a little bit of a stereotype cop, which you kind of expect that from Friday the 13th movies, don't you? You're watching Friday the 13th movies. I would hope you would expect it, but yeah. So, I don't need to say much. Alice Cooper should have been the lead in knowledge of what was up with this motherfucker, ya bitch boy, or bitch girl. You bitch, witch. Let's move into number 3. Fuck it, I'm feeling good right now. Woo! This is where I am truly gonna die in this list. Number 3 is number 1, and it is part 1, and it is Friday the 13th. No subtitle. Friday the 13th, or Long Night at Camp Blood, as it would have been called in an alternate universe. Why is this at number 3 and not number 1? Well, for one, A New Blood and the reboot exist, but we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, you already know what the last two are, but number 1 for me is in a weird place here. Because I can respect heavily it's the first movie, but with that being said, it's not a perfect movie. It does have a lot of flaws, it has a lot of early growing issues. It was obvious they didn't want to start a series with this and they wanted to do an anthology shit, which is fine. The fact that the rest of the series, you know, had to fit in with everything else, with how this first movie went, it was rough. We watched the Friday the 13th go through many ups and downs because this was the starting point, truly. But with that being said, and despite our main villain only being seen for the last 20 minutes of screen time, maybe, Pamela Voorhees was a good villain. Her psychotic freakouts were good. The way she chased Alice, I dug it. The kills, although not the greatest, there was I don't know. There were a few notable kills, but it was just a very early attempt, you know? Very early. You know, Sean S. Cunningham made it and then forgot about it. So, yeah, what can you say? I just said it. Anyway, let's dig my hole even further as we move into good old number fucking 2. 2 girls, 1 cup. Don't worry, boys. One of the movies from the original series will take number 1, because number 2 is the reboot. Yeah! I'm already gonna get killed for the reboot being above number 1. Here, let me take a quick drink while you try to murder me through the screen. I'll, Freddy Krueger, which I might rank those movies one day, but the reboot for me was my first ever Friday the 13th movie. It's not my favorite, but it was my first ever Friday the 13th movie. Listen, I snuck into a theater with my friend at the age of like 9 when this came out in 2009. I loved it so much. I had nightmares for weeks, but I loved it so much. It was my first horror movie I would really argue that I actually remember seeing afterwards, and it was amazing. I could come over the reboot, man. I could come over the reboot's cover art, and the way that Jason was done as this rough, rugged survivalist, how the movie is shot cinematography-wise, it's just beautiful. It's a masterpiece. It's a glorious masterpiece. The characters are alive and vibing. They feel like they're in the modern era still even watching it now. It feels appropriate and right. And how that opening is done is still the best opening in any horror movie history. Hands fucking down, in my opinion. I could go off about this movie forever and ever and ever and ever, but I would much rather you guys go watch the reboot yourself first. And you see, here's the thing though. The reboot would personally holds a heavy heart. I could argue it is my favorite. I could argue it is, but I couldn't let the reboot take number 1. Because there is one Jason Voorhees that I like a lot more, that is way more of a monster, and is way more fucking terrifying. And we're gonna move into that right now. No transition in the video needed or for me to gather my thoughts. Jason Voorhees in A New Blood. It was the first time this man had ever had a fucking proper adversary. Forget fucking Freddy Krueger for a second, yo. Forget Freddy fucking Krueger. I forget the girl's name. I've watched the movie a million times, but I always forget the girl's name afterwards. I always do. That's the thing with these movies, man. You never remember the characters' names except Tommy, if you're lucky. But you really only remember Jason mostly. But the girl was a psychic. She could like control shit with her brain, move shit around, lift it and throw it. It was amazing. And the way she fought back against Jason, bloody glorious. It was orgasm worthy. It was cum worthy. It was saliva worthy. It was drool worthy. It was snot worthy. It was earwax worthy. It was armpit hair worthy. It was testicle worthy. I'm gonna stop. But the fact that Jason had a proper adversary for this movie, the fact he got set on fire at one point, it was at the time a record for the fire stunt. It might still be the record. I don't know. But it was awesome. And I really did like it. But Jason in this movie was also a literal monster. He had bones sticking out. He was the most decayed and fucked up and monster looking he had ever been throughout the series, reboot included. Like, he just looked like a proper undead zombie nightmare from the lake, chained up, decaying, ghoulish, darkened creature, corrupted. Like, he was a proper freakazoid zombie, man. He was a proper freak. Super freak! Super freak! Oh yeah, you know it, that is a super freak! Super freak! But I think we've done a lot of talking about Friday the 13th movies. I want to give a quick honorable mention to Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow, the fan-made movies. I would have included them in this ranking, but they are fan-made movies. Also an honorable mention to the Friday the 13th video game from the modern era, and obviously the, I believe, NES, or was it SNES? I can't remember which one that was on. If I looked it up, I would. Again, I would add those into the ranking, but those aren't movies at all. But I still want to give shout-outs, credibilities, honorable mention to all those things because they are part of the wider Friday the 13th mythos. Obviously, we have the comic series, we have the short books about Jason Voorhees and his family and all that. We have the little fan documentaries and the actual proper documentaries. Like, for example, this Friday the 13th Killer Extras, which came with this motherfucking, these movies are going to be all out of order now, but minus Freddy vs. Jason, which came with this fucking lovely box set of all the movies, 1 through fucking 8, I believe, and it is a beautiful box DVD set, has cover art, everything. There are so many good things about Friday the 13th movies. Even the really bad ones, like Jason X. When I'm drunk, I can at least enjoy it. This series has been a part of my life for the longest thing ever. I hope it gets out of its development, like court hell, whatever. And I hope we can enjoy more Friday the 13th more often, just like those happy kids over there. Do it for the happy kids, guys. Do it for the kids. Anyway, I've been Johnny Von Duke, and just like Jason Voorhees creeping in the night, I am gonna murder your wife and kids. Not really. That's a cap, YouTube. That was a joke. We're talking about Friday the 13th. You've had several minutes of context here. Fuck off, bot. Like those kids. Fuck off. Hey, Alice Cooper. Anyway, guys, I have been Johnny Von Duke, and I hope you guys have a hatty day. Take it away, other me. Wow! Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's pretty much a nothing burger, but if you've been watching my channel for all 8 years that's existed, you should know that's kind of what we do here. Anyway, if you somehow found yourself enjoying it, click over here to watch another video, click over here to watch another degenerate video, click here to subscribe to my channel, then click down there for, well, whatever lazy lack of originality content I put there. Anyway, get the fuck out of here, you filthy animal. Goodbye.